profit. 100-band jug, yeah, my shooter got a rocket.
What is up, everybody? It is your boy Farai. Hope you're having a great day. Say it back. Today we're going to be working on a Smokepurpp, Lil Pump, Comethazine type vocal effect. Very similar style in vocal mixing, slightly different styles. You know what I mean? We want to really be working on rapping over these dark trap beats. You know, we want to make sure our vocal pops out and is also not too treblish. You know, if you listen to a lot of the early Smokepurpp mixes, very treblish, you know what I mean? So you want to really gel the vocal in. So we're going to be working on some next level techniques on getting amazing vocal sounds within FL Studio. If you kind of follow you can read this while I play what I have, and then we can kind of get going. So you know what I'm saying? Let's get it, drop a like and subscribe. Better say what's up in the comment section, or I'm mad, you know what I'm saying? Nah, I'm just playing. But yeah, anyway, without further ado, let's get it.
We just split the profit. 100-band jug, yeah, my shooter got a rocket. Tryna buy Mercedes, eating real good at the table, I'm like, check please. Yeah, he don't sip 40s, but he point fours, cup looking real frosty. Shorty all on me, I don't wanna know, cause she acting real slutty. We just split the profit. 100-band jug, yeah, my shooter got a rocket. Tryna buy Mercedes, eating real good at the table, I'm like, check please. Can't talk big ballin', if you wanna boss up, better go all in. She textin', she salty, rather chase some money, boy, we be big ballin'.
So there you go, pretty much a song very similar to Uncle or Nephew, my bad, Nephew, which I heard a while ago. But yeah, that's how we're going to be working today. As you can see right there, I ran through every single effect. So if you are a pro, then you understand the vocal chain and you can leave. But for those who are already interested in understanding why I did everything that I did, stick around, you know what I'm saying? Get some coffee, get Red Bull, whatever you enjoy sipping on, you know what I'm saying? And we'll break it down. So the first thing, what I'll do is I will play the vocal without any effects on it, just so you can kind of hear where we're starting off at. As I say, it is so important to record in the most deadened environment as possible, meaning, you know what I'm saying, put the blankets up in your studio, do whatever you got to do to eliminate that room tone, you know. If you've got a noisy, cheap microphone, in a bad room, you're not going to win. But even if you just got a $100 mic in a deadened room, you're going to get really good results, and they're going to be much usable results that you can actually release your music with, you know what I mean? So as you can hear, this is what the vocal sounds like.
We just split the profit. 100-band jug, yeah, my shooter got a rocket. Tryna buy Mercedes, eating real good at the table, I'm like, check please. Yeah, he don't sip 40s, but he point fours, cup looking real.
So as you can hear right there, the mix is pretty much a good starting point, you know what I mean? You might have to remix the beat a little bit, get your beat to -6 dB, because that's the way that the compression is set up in this template. But you know, you want to get your vocal just nice and dry. You know, as you can hear, I don't have too much treble in my voice in this particular instance because I decided to drop the mic a little bit just to kind of gel in with the beat, you know what I mean? So you can EQ your voice before even EQing it. So yeah, the first thing I do, as you can see, we've got this analog pre-effect channel, and really all that is doing is correcting any issues. So I had a little bit too much bass around this area, dipped that a little bit 2 dB, and then again, I'm just using this Waves C6. If you are interested in purchasing this template, there will be a free separate FLP as well, not with free plugins in it, my bad. And you know what I mean, the Fruity multiband can be used in this instant. So all I'm doing here is really just compressing the bass a little bit when needed, and then I'm just really getting rid of this area because I don't quite like the way this area sounds if I solo that.
Band jug, yeah, my shooter got a rocket.
So that's really acting as the DS, so you could use the Waves DS, so you could use any DS you want. Here I'm using the Air Windows Tube Desk. As you can see, it's simple to use. There's nothing on this plugin at all, and all it's really doing is adding a tube characteristic. Now, if you want to know what a tube characteristic is, in the olden days they would drive songs through tube mixing consoles. A tube is a type of electronic mechanism, I'm guessing, and what it really does is it's really smoothen up the vocal, take round off the edges, round off the highs. So that's where we get that sound initially. If I turn these off,
we just split the profit. 100 band jug, yeah, my shooter got a rocket.
You know what I mean? These two plugins together really help smooth out the highs. So now we can start affecting the vocal. So the first thing I do is the C6, right? Again, just to kind of get rid of this nasty area right here. Generally with male vocals, somewhere between 100 and 2000, you're gonna have to get rid of something, unless your vocal is really recorded in the most perfect of rooms. But if you want to hear what I fixed right here, let's kind of head off to a different part.
Tryna buy Mercedes, eating real good at the table, I'm like, check please.
And if you can successfully find this frequency, it's really going to help your vocal separate from the beat, you know what I mean? Because now there is no clash. So I guess that's something you got to keep in mind. So the next thing I do is a bit of Pultec style EQ. This is a free alternative, free to download version of this plugin, which we'll break down soon. I'm actually using that on my analog master path, which we'll break down, you know, further in the video. But, you know, this is a free alternative, which sounds pretty much the same. But yeah, what I do is I pretty much with the vocal is I just boost 4000 hertz a little bit. So if you want to see where that sits on the EQ spectrum, that's really just around here, a little bit of a bump right there just to poke the vocal out. Because now that we've tamed the vocal, we can start adding, you know what I mean? You don't want to add until you've addressed the issues in your mix. So yeah, all we really do is poke 4000 hertz a little bit, and then we use the attenuation, which means subtract, to get rid of a bit of the 60 hertz, you know, the lower bass again, just to kind of tame the vocal with the 808. Next thing I do right here is the solid state Logic LMC1 compressor. And basically, if you understand a little bit of our history, they used to use this plugin on drums in the 80s. So they would actually somehow compress. There was actually a compressor that was in the talkback mic. Really interesting story, but yeah. All in all it really does is hyper compress your vocal. So you want to blend that in. As you can see, I've copied this. If I turn this up, you're going to hear how much more aggressive the vocal becomes.
100 band jug, yeah, my shooter got a rocket. Tryna buy Mercedes, eating real good at the table, I'm like, check please. Can't talk big ballin'.
So as you can hear, when I turn it off, the vocal almost gets lost within the beat. So if you gel in this hyper compression, you get that real kind of, you know, gritty Miami sound. So next thing we do, you know what I mean, SSL again, you could use the console EQ. As I say, the free version FLP will have the console EQ by Modern Series, same thing. And all we really want to do is here is we want to start doing our filtering. So we want to get rid of 120 hertz. We want to get rid of anything above 17,000 hertz. Next thing we want to do is just boost around, you know, 9,000, 10,000 hertz, just to really, you know, make sure every word is heard. You know what I mean, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I don't do any boosting over here because we've already done some boosting over here, right? Makes sense. This is just a taste EQ. Next thing I do is just dip a little bit of the lower mids. We don't want too much of a in our vocal. Again, we do a very similar EQ to what we did over here, except here we were compressing. All we want to do is dip the low end a little bit more. If I turn this off, you can kind of hear how lost the vocal becomes. We'll turn off this as well. Let's turn off all three EQs.
100 band jug, yeah, my shooter got a rocket.
Very safe, very much dull. And then when we turn that on, we get that high-end boost.
100 band jug, yeah, my shooter got a rocket.
We could even try maybe dip it to 2. Let's see if that works even better.
100 band jug, yeah, my shooter got a rocket. Tryna buy Mercedes, eating real good at the table, I'm like, check please.
I kind of like this, you know what I mean? It just pops the vocal out a little bit more. Anyway, next thing we do is just a bit of, we don't need to be fancy here. We can just use our stock FL compressor. These are the settings I'm using. Vintage mode, just to kind of emulate a leveling amplifier. Very light compression ratio. And we just want to kiss the compressor right there. You know what I mean? Pretty fast attack time. Pretty fast release time. We really want that compressor to work with our vocal instead of really brick wall it, you know what I mean? You could use any reverb instead of this one, but the concept is that you want to use a pre-delay of between 0 and 20 milliseconds just to kind of divide the reverb from the vocal. What you want to do is go for a room sound, room type of reverb. You could spread it if the Fruity Reverb does have a spreading function. You want to spread that all the way, and you just want to blend it in. And as you can see right here, I'm really just using this reverb not as a reverb, but more so as a stereo spreader. You know what I mean? So if I turn this up, you can kind of hear the vocal becomes almost doubled. So
100 band jug, yeah, my shooter got a rocket.
You know what I mean? It's got a mixture of flanger, you know what I mean, and reverb in it as well. So what I do after that is just a bit of S1. Now you could use the A1. I forget who the plugin developer is, but it is free to download. You can use it for Mac as well. It is an AAX format. Amazing stuff. If I turn these two off, that's kind of our, you know, cool Sido effect missing.
100 band jug, yeah, my shooter got a...
very dry and boring, you know what I mean?
On the band jug, yeah, my shooter got a rocket.
Kind of gives it a sound of its own. So yeah, right here, mid-side EQ, you know what I mean? Just treat the stereo section right here if you want to hear what stereo sounds like.
Eating real good at the table, I'm like, check please.
See, so this EQ basically allows me to manipulate the reverb without affecting the mono element of the vocal. So as you can hear, when I muted the mono, all we have is stereo, mid and side. You know what I mean? I highly recommend studying this. This is an interesting concept. But yeah, next thing I do is just a bit of L1, really just to push that vocal up front. This really just gives it that aggressive sound. So yeah, what else can I show you? Yeah, Ad-lib, you know what I mean? We just pretty much using this filter right here. This is such a godly filter. I've started using this on background vocals, etc. You want to kind of filter around this region right here. You want to get rid of the highs and lows just to give it that telephone effect. You know, I didn't really want to go loud with the ad-libs. I know a lot of people like loud ad-libs, but the EQ and stuff is still the same. I'll just solo that and you can hear. And yeah, you know what I mean? You can kind of hear there. I just want it in the background, you know what I mean? I could really boost this. You could add a limiter here if you wanted to. But yeah, I just want it to be background. Similar concept, you know what I mean? Filter, filter, filter. And then yeah, we just use a bit of MDA Leslie. I like this because it pans it slightly from left to right. You could use your phaser as well. And then you just want to use the Fruity Panamatic with these settings right here on the LFO section, just to make the vocal go left to right on its own without you needing to do that. Yeah, you know, delays, as you can see right here. Damn, I didn't use the H delay.
Yeah, he don't sip 40s, but he point fours, cup looking real frosty. Shorty all on me.
But yeah, there you go, you know what I mean? Just a bit of delay right here. This is such a cool kind of retro sounding delay. You could use the Fruity delay. That's what we've been using the whole session. But yeah, just a bit of chorus to kind of blend it in with the beat. You know, a dry delay doesn't really sound that good all the time. Reverb, we're using the Brocasti style reverb, which is pretty much a convolution reverb. That's the reverb sound we're using. And then when you actually gel that in with your main vocal.
Yeah, he don't sip 40s, but he point fours, cup looking real frosty.
Want to gel that in very minimally. Again, we take the beat and the main vocal, or we take the whole mix, right, which we'll break down a bit on mastering now. But we want to compress that as well with the SSL. You could use just a Fruity compressor as well with the same similar settings. 3 millisecond attack, 3 second release, and you know, etc., just to kind of blend the full mix in and get a bit more loudness out of it.
Yeah, he don't sip 40s, but he point fours, cup looking real frosty.
I don't know, it kind of adds a little bit of 3D depth onto it, especially if you EQ it right, if you'd like. This kind of radio effect right here, which is this take, which was actually supposed to be used as an effect send, which it is as well, but I'm actually blending it in as well with another take. Really weird and complicated. I think it was a mistake that I enjoyed using, so if you don't understand that, it doesn't really matter. Cool, so now we head over to the mastering section, and pretty much if you understand the routing here, 1, 2, 3, 4, you can follow that how to use. Hopefully you read that at the beginning. But what happens is everything goes into this channel, right? Which is pretty much our pre-master channel. So what that means is in the analog world, right, what you would do before mastering is you would sum your whole mix. So all the tracks would be sent to one device or one channel on the mixer where you could kind of do your final tweaks. And generally what people would do is they would drive that channel a little bit to kind of get that extra bit of analog grit, because a lot of these mixes have that analog grit. And maybe if you feel like, why is my mix not as kind of 3D and gritty as theirs, it's because of this. So basically what I'm doing is I'll just play the full song again and you can kind of see how I clip the mix through analog preamps, which is pretty much my audio interface. As you can see, my audio interface has a mixer within it, so that's kind of cool. But you know, and then I've got some plugins going as well, which are very much similar to the, let me just pull up these. As you can see, it's the exact same thing. I'm just doing this to save CPU. They sound pretty similar. I'll A/B them and you can hear. And there will be free replacements as well for the FL Studio stock standard users. But yeah, as you can see right here, all I really want to do is some pull tech and dip the highs a little bit. I just want to poke out 3K again a little bit, do a tiny bit of poking here at like 9,000 hertz again, and then just compress it a little bit with the pull tech style compressor. But you know what I'll do now while I play the mix is just watch how I pretty much clip my mic preamps just a tiny bit, and this gives us that sound. Now obviously if you're not capable of sending your mix out of your audio interface back into your audio interface or into a summing mixer. Summing mixers can cost a lot of money. That's why I'm doing it with this audio interface. You could use something like the SSL bus, you know what I mean, and then choose the flavor you want just to kind of drive it. I will drive it just now as well. Or you could use a free alternative, which would be the Air Windows bus colors. It is a 64 plugin by Air Windows. Chris, shout out him. And then you can choose your color right here, you know what I mean? So pretty much the same as this. Really interesting stuff. So let's just play again and then we'll see.
We just split the profit on a band jug. Yeah, my shooter got a rocket. Tryna buy Mercedes, eating real good at the table. I'm like, check please. Yeah, he don't sip 40s, but he point fours, cup looking real frosty. Shorty all on me, I don't wanna know, cause she acting real slutty. We just split the profit on a band jug. Yeah, my shooter got a rocket.
You know what I mean? I'm treating this as if like I am a mastering engineer, and I'm treating this separately to what anyone else was doing, you know what I mean, or the mixer was doing. So, you know what I mean? Obviously, if you do not have this whole thing, let's bypass it completely, right? So by default, your thing will be routed like this. So we're not actually hearing what is coming out of here. We're just hearing the mix as it's in itself. And then we'll turn on these and we'll kind of listen and we'll drive what we have. Let's just turn that off. And then we'll drive it as if we're driving an analog console. Let's kind of just go there.
We just split the profit on a band jug. Yeah, my shooter got a rocket. Tryna buy Mercedes, eating real good at the table. I'm like, check please. Yeah, he don't sip 40s, but he point fours, cup looking real frosty. We just split the profit.
So obviously the only difference there was the loudness, obviously, because, you know, these preamps, I don't want to mess around with the setting because I really like the way it's driving it. But you know what I mean? In the digital realm, you can only get so loud, but when it comes to these analog preamps, you can kind of get a bit louder, and that's kind of cool because then the limiter doesn't work as hard because you're kind of clipping off any of the loudest transients. That's a whole nother video and a whole nother style. You're good enough to go with this, you know what I mean? This sounded just equally as good, otherwise I wouldn't have shown you. But yeah, that's pretty much all I need to show you in this video, man. It is getting pretty long. Hopefully, you know, these are the final mastering settings I'm using. Let's just load this up. Just a bit of stereo width. You could use the S1. I just like this because it adds a really nice color to the stereo section. I'm just kind of boosting here simply because the beats kick and 808 sounded a bit strange towards the final end of the mix. So boosting this gives it that warmth back. We're trimming off 22 hertz and below, and then we are trimming off 19,000 hertz and above. And then, yeah, we just hit it with the limiter just a little bit. Before I did this whole analog style summing thing, what I was doing, this is why we were so loud, because we had this still on. That sounded pretty cool. Well, there you go, man. The mix never ends, you know what I mean? So I'll leave that right here. Hopefully you learned something. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section. Feel free to stop by the web store, man. Show some support, upgrade your sound. And I'll see you in the next video. Feel free to recommend any vocal styles I should try and work on, and I'll try and get to it. You know what I'm saying? I'm hungry for more content. So I'll see you in the next video. Peace out. Peace out. Peace out.